Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today. We are going to explore how to safely transform pretty much any room with an indoor fountain. Bringing the sound of flowing water into your home creates this ultimate zone of zen. Well, assuming it doesn't turn your living room into a literal swamp. Doing it right requires just a little bit of behind-the-scenes magic, so let's dive right in.
Picture this. You've just installed the stunning, cascading stone fountain right in your living room. It's breathtaking, right? But then, you wake up the very next morning to discover that your beautiful indoor oasis has sprung a leak. That peaceful trickling sound is turned into the absolute disaster of water damage, just spreading all across your expensive hardwood floors. It's a total nightmare scenario. Well, that is exactly what we're going to help you avoid today.
That nightmare scenario is exactly why reliable plumbing is so crucial. Think of it as the hidden mechanical skeleton keeping your fountain alive, and more importantly, keeping your home safe. You see, when you install an outdoor fountain, a minor leak usually just means you're accidentally watering the grass. It's really no big deal. But an indoor setup? That requires meticulous planning. Every single drop of water needs to be accounted for, controlled, and managed to prevent absolute chaos inside your house.
So here's the sequential blueprint we'll be following today. First, we'll look at the indoor fountain illusion. Second, sourcing your water supply. Third, sizing pumps and plumbing. Fourth, drainage and leak control. Fifth, backflow prevention and codes. And finally, creating a reliable, leak-free oasis.
Starting off with part 1, the indoor fountain illusion.
Before you buy any parts, you essentially have two paths to choose from. First, you've got your closed-loop recirculating system. This is what a lot of indoor models use. The pump just pulls water from a built-in reservoir, pushes it up to the display, and it falls right back into that exact same tank. On the other hand, a continuous feed system operates a lot more like a kitchen sink. Water is constantly piped in directly from your home's water lines, which means it absolutely requires a dedicated drain to carry that water away. Pinning down which of these two illusions you're actually building is step number 1, mostly because it completely dictates your entire plumbing blueprint.
Moving along to part 2, sourcing your water supply.
Now, even if you go with a closed-loop recirculating fountain, water evaporates. It's just a fact of physics. You're going to need some method to top off that evaporated water. If you connect it to a household line for easy refilling, you must include a dedicated shut-off valve. These are typically installed right under a nearby sink. Why does this matter so much? Because when you're doing routine maintenance, or if a float valve accidentally gets stuck, that dedicated shutoff acts as your emergency brake. It prevents accidental overfilling and gives you total control over the water entering your system.
All right, part 3, sizing pumps and plumbing.
I really love this quote from our source material. The pump is the heart of the water system. Let's just lean into that analogy for a second. If the pump is the heart, then your plumbing lines, the tubing, the pipes, the fittings, those are the veins. And just like in the human body, those veins have to match the heart perfectly. Your supply lines and tubing diameters must precisely match the pump's specific flow rate and head pressure specifications. If you have a larger basin or multiple spillways, your plumbing layout has to be perfectly balanced so the water reaches every single feature consistently.
So, what happens if you don't match those specs? You run into a little something called cavitation. Cavitation happens when your pump and tubing diameter are basically fighting each other. It creates this excessive, terrible noise. Honestly, imagine the sound of a blender trying to puree rocks. Remember, we want an indoor fountain for peace and quiet, right? Not a grinding mechanical hum. This is exactly why expert installers highly recommend using flexible tubing and vibration dampening connections to keep things whisper quiet.
But sizing the pump isn't just about pushing water out. It's about what happens when there's way too much water. Listen, omitting overflow protection is just not an option. It is absolutely non-negotiable. If you don't have an overflow tube routed safely back to the reservoir or to a proper drain, even a tiny circulation failure will cause the water to rise, spill right over the edge, and cause devastating damage to your adjacent floors and spaces. You always have to size an overflow tube to handle the absolute maximum expected flow of your pump.
Which brings us to part 4, drainage and leak control.
Here's the reality. Even if your recirculating fountain operates totally flawlessly, water splashes. When you perform routine cleaning, water spills. And honestly, simply by existing, a fountain produces high humidity right near its base. Leak control isn't just about preventing a pipe from bursting, it's really about managing long-term moisture. To contain the splashing, you have to use waterproof trays and vertical splash guards enclosing the base, along with moisture-resistant materials. You've got to contain that splash to prevent slow, unseen rot and water damage from ruining your home over the years.
Next up, part 5,
Backflow prevention and codes.
Let's define backflow real quick, because it's critical. Backflow happens when contaminated water from your fountain's reservoir accidentally siphons backwards into your home's clean drinking water supply. Just think about that for a minute. Fountain water, which could easily have algae, dust, or treatment chemicals in it, getting sucked straight into the pipes that feed your kitchen sink. No, thank you. It's a major health hazard. To prevent this entirely, local plumbing codes almost always require an air gap or a specific backflow preventer device. Because these regulations can really vary, it is highly advised that you consult your local code guidance or just hire a licensed plumber to set up this crucial protective barrier for you.
Finally, Part 6, a reliable, leak-free oasis.
So the biggest takeaway today is this easy 4-step checklist. Step 1, secure your supply, making sure you actually have dedicated shutoff valves. Step 2, size the pump and tubing correctly to prevent all that awful noise, cavitation, and flow imbalances. Step 3, plan your drainage by implementing robust overflow protection and moisture guards. And Step 4, prevent backflow to keep your drinking water strictly separated from your fountain water. And you know what? I'll add one pro tip to this checklist for you. Design your layout so that your valves and pump compartment are easily accessible. You really want to be able to service the pump and clean the filters without having to dismantle the entire heavy water feature.
By following this checklist, you literally take all the guesswork out of the process. So I'll leave you with this one final provocative thought. Is your new indoor fountain installation going to be a source of ultimate tranquility or a slow-motion plumbing nightmare? The choice and the power is entirely in the blueprint you draw up today. Take this checklist, plan meticulously, and go build yourself that beautiful, safe oasis. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, happy building!